Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of our Rattle Mug series. Today we're going to be putting on the handles and cleaning everything up and getting them ready to be fired. To make the handle, you're going to want to start off with a piece of clay, and we're going for a tapered look. So I always like to start with rolling it in my hand first and getting it mostly round and get all the lumps out. And I'm trying to make it thicker on one side and thinner on the other side, much like a carrot. What we're going for is we're trying to get this handle about the thickness of our thumb or the handle of a fettling knife. This is a really good thickness. We're going to flatten it out a little bit, so this will just give us a little extra thickness. There's many ways to make a hand-built handle, but I really like using a coil like this because when you flatten it, the edges are already round. So it makes a nice finished product pretty easily and pretty fast, and they're usually pretty durable. They're just all around a good, comfortable handle. So I like this method, but again, there's many other ways. Go ahead and cut off the excess. We're going to be putting it on a piece of paper. This is a crucial step. Your table is a non-porous surface. Clay will stick to a non-porous surface. A piece of paper is porous and it won't stick to that. That's going to be really important when we're going to be stamping it and flattening it out. Again, I really like this process of flattening out a coil because it makes a round edge on the end of the handle. It's going to look nicely on our cup. You want your handle a little bit thicker than you think you need it to because we're going to be stamping it coming up. Go ahead and get out your homemade bisque stamp again, and we're going to be holding it at an angle, and we're going to be stamping the edges first. I like to give it a little rolling motion. Makes it look really good. Just go ahead and stamp the whole thing. This is just going to make those glazes really beautiful when you're done. This next step is going to be all about the curve of the handle. We want the curve of the handle to look really good next to our cup. So I like to just hold the pot above the handle and get the curvature right while it's still really wet, while the clay is still really wet on the handle. And then we're going to set the handle aside to stiffen up. This will allow us to work on the handle and attach it to the mug without it flopping everywhere. So get the curve right, set it aside to get leather hard. You can use the fan or a hair dryer to do so. After your handle's had a chance to stiffen up a bit, now it's time to cut it to the correct size. I'm going to hold the mug above the handle and just eyeball it and cut it till I feel like it looks right. Now if your handle is too small, you're going to have what we call a knuckle burner, where your knuckles are so close to the hot coffee that your knuckles are going to get burnt on the mug. That's no good. And if you have it too far away, the center of gravity is going to be too far away from the heavy liquid, and it can make the cup feel heavy, and it can make your hands hurt a little bit while you're drinking it. So you want it enough, just big enough for your hands to get in there, but not so close that your knuckles are going to be touching the pot. Just a little space in between your knuckles and your pot. Again, holding it at above, trying it out. Notice how I have my cup on a piece of foam now so I don't damage the beautiful texture. Take your time on this step. A beautifully proportioned handle can really make a cup really great to use, real comfortable, and it can really add some nice touches to your cup. So take your time on this step. Don't rush it. Do it right. Next, of course, is going to be attaching the handle. And of course, we're going to do that by scoring and slipping. On a textured pot like this, it's really all about getting the handle scored and slipped on there without damaging the texture. So you're really going to have to be conscious of that texture the whole time and make deliberate movements so you don't damage that texture. I'm going to trace around where I want the handle to go, score it, add some water, and carefully put it on there without damaging the texture. There are infinite many ways to attach the bottom of the handle to the mug. Here I'm going to just use my thumb and I'm going to put a little water on my thumb and I'm going to go back and forth to make a smooth thumbprint. And I chose not to blend it in. Again, I want to keep the texture on my pot free from any other debris on there. So I don't want to blend it in because that would ruin the texture of my pot. Alternatively, you could use your stamp to attach the handle to the mug. That would be a great way to do it. I'm just going to trim up the bottom. Again, this is all about me trying not to damage the texture. So I'm going to be really careful when I smooth that sharp edge out not to damage my texture at all. A really good habit to develop is to put your pot in a tub after you add any attachments like a handle. It allows the moisture in the handle and the cup to homogenize, and it'll keep your handle from cracking where you attach it. Just a couple days and then let it dry slow in that tub. I'm adding a hole in the bottom of my pot. Then remember, we have that air cavity in here with our beads in there. I'm going to use a drill bit and drill a hole in there. You could also use a needle tool. I just wanted a nice clean hole. And this is necessary so the steam when we fire these pots can escape out of there. If you don't have that hole there, there's a possibility your pot could explode in the kiln. I like to clean up this frost porcelain when it's bone dry. But if you're using stoneware or earthenware or another type of clay, it's probably best to do it when it's leather hard. But this frost porcelain cleans up beautifully when it's bone dry. So now my pot's bone dry and I have a sponge and I'm lightly going around and I'm just using the sponge to butter up all those edges, get rid of any clay crunchies that we might have, and just get it perfect. Again, this frost porcelain just cleans up so nice in the bone dry stage. I always just wait till it's all bone dry to clean it up.